So in this video, we're going to be looking at arrays. An array is a data structure that stores a collection of values. So if we look at, we treated variables before, and if we look at a variable holds a single value like this. So this can be, let's say, a variable called, let's say, x. So let's say this variable is called x. Now, if I put any value, I can only put one value in this x. I cannot put a collection of values. So let's say I'm working on a program and I need to store the names of persons in a class. To be able to do that, if I'm using a variable, then I'll have to create multiple variables. So that means I will have to do something like this. Let name 1 equal to, let's say, John. Let name 2 equal to Mike. Let name 3 equal to, let's say, Joe. Let name 4 be equal to let's say Matt, like this. Okay, so we can see that we have declared multiple variables to store our values. Now this seems like a solution, right? But it's not a good solution, because what if we have up to 100 persons in the class? That means we have to create like 100 variables in our program just to store their names, the names of persons in our class, which is not good enough. Number one, to make the code bulky, and it's not scalable. So anytime I want to add a new person, I have to create a variable for that person, and it's going to be difficult moving from one value to another. So arrays handle these scenarios easily. So instead of creating multiple variables, then we just create one variable, which is an array, and this is the structure. So we saw that with a variable, we have just one box here that stores or collects a single value. So if I have a value here and I want to store the next one, that means it's going to overwrite what was there before. So if I had 1 here and I want to store 2, that means 2 will take over 1. So I will no more have 1 there. So I can't have 1 and 2 in the same container, in the same variable. So in arrays, we have something like this. So we have a longer box like this, and this box is partitioned like this. Okay, so this box is partitioned like this. So if I had, let's say I had 1 in the first box and I want to store 2, instead of overwriting this 1, I'll go to the next partition and store 2 here. And let's say later on I have 5, I'll go to the next and store 5 here. And then let's say I have like 7, I can store it here. And if I have 10, I can store it here. And let's say I have 20, I will also store it here like this. Great. So you can see this is a collection of values. I don't need to overwrite my previous value to have the new one. So applying this to our previous example, instead of creating multiple values like this, creating variables name 1, name 2, name 3, name 4, up to, let's say, name 100. I just create one variable, one array, a box like this with 100 partitions. So the first person will take the first partition, the next takes the next, like that till we get to 100. So with that, I just need to create one array like this and then store all my values. So if we convert that here, I can say let name, let's call it names, be equal to what? I will say John like this, Mike like this, Joe like this, and Matt like this. So you can see that this is cleaner and shorter, so I don't need to have all this anymore, so I can delete this. So with just one variable, one array, we'll be able to store 4 values, and we can have more. So if I have more names, I can simply add here. So this is how arrays work. This is how you can create an array. Another thing to note with arrays is you can add or remove elements at any time. So if I have apple in this case, so I have an array of fruits. So I have apple, banana, orange. Now if I go to the market and I buy another fruit, let's say mango, I can add it to this array. So if any of these fruits finishes, I can also remove them from this array. So in JavaScript, you can add and remove values or elements from an array at any time. So you can, so to access, now after having all these values, so in this case we have John, Mike, Joe, Matt as the names of persons in a class. So how do I access these names? So if I do console.log names, let's see what happens. Oh, sorry, my internet went off. Okay, so I guess we'll have to check this in the next video. So, but let me explain a concept. In arrays, we have what we call index, or should I say indices. So an index is a position of each of these compartments. So this will be given an index of 0. So indices start with 0. So this is 0. So the first element has an index of 0. So this is how we access this element. So the first element here has an index of 0. The next has an index of 2. The next, 1. The next is 2. The next is 3. The next is 4. And the next is 5, like this. So if I want to access any of these elements, I just need to know the index of that element. So if I want to access the 4th element, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 4th element has an index of 3. So in arrays, if I want to access an element at a particular position, then the index I of that element is equal to the position. Let's represent the position with a p minus 1. So this is what you use in getting the index of a particular element at a position. So if I'm looking for the 5th element, that means the index will be what? 5 minus 1, like this, which is what? 4. So if I'm looking for the fifth element, I just need to call this array with the index of what? 4, and I will get the fifth element. In this case, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the fifth element is what? 10. So that's the element at index 4, which is 10. So that's it for this video. We're going to continue in the next video.